Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, wherever it is, but whenever time you're listening to us. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to have this panel with us to talk to you about survivors, surviving sexual assault, sexual violence, human trafficking, and the services that are available, the supports that are available for each of you. So we hope that you find this informative, that you any questions that you have, please call us at Verity. We'll say this now and we'll also say it at the end. 707-545-7273 is our crisis line, and that's the best line to reach us now because we are working remotely, but we will always answer the call and we will always respond to you. I'm Chris Castillo and have the honor of being the executive director of Verity. It's a true pleasure to be able to serve in this role on behalf of our survivors and our community and the amazing team of staff and volunteers that work for Verity. We're very blessed to have such wonderful people with us. So I'll have our panelists introduce themselves. The first will be Susan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Susan Pulido. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am the confidential campus advocate at Sonoma State University. I've been in my role now for 3 years, interestingly enough. April is the anniversary of my hire date, April being Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And it's so nice to be here on the eve of Sexual Assault Awareness Month to talk to my co-panelists about how we support folks who are survivors. So in my role as the campus advocate, I support a lot of students. I support students and staff, but primarily students who have experienced some form of sexual violence, dating or domestic violence, sexual harassment, or stalking. And students come to the university as survivors, and students are sexually assaulted while being students on campus. And I support each and every one of them in whatever way they like. I provide advocacy through reporting, reporting to law enforcement, to the Office of Prevention of Harassment and Discrimination, which is our Title IX office. And so much of what I do involves students who are working with Title IX and going through that process. Court procedure, it's just so incredibly powerful to see a survivor advocate for themselves and see the survivor gain their power back through this process. Lastly, in my role as a campus advocate, I do a lot of academic, housing, and administrative advocacy with students. You know, there's a lot of time, there's so much that's gone on during this time of COVID. People are in places where harm has been done to them. People are not, they're not in safe places. And with everything that's gone on in the world, there's so much trauma that survivors are experiencing and re-experiencing. So there may be something that comes up for a survivor where they are unable to prepare for an exam or complete a project or participate in a group project. And my charge comes from an executive order through the Cal State system, and it's Executive Order 1095, where I am able to reach out on the student's behalf and ask for extensions on assignments, a delay on an exam, postponing an exam for a week for a student. And I'm so happy to say that the faculty at Sonoma State University are pretty accommodating. And so when an email comes from me with no details whatsoever, there is nothing because it's confidential. The faculty are always happy to accommodate the request that we're making. And the important thing about that is that the survivor feels extremely supported and doesn't feel the need to leave the university. They are able to stay and continue their education. We know that there's so many students who drop out of universities because of the harm done to them. And in this role, we are able to help students stay and get their degree and continue their life and continue their healing journey, because the healing journey is an ongoing journey. And if I get 4 years or 5 years or a semester or a week with a student, whatever I am able to do for that student in that time frame, it's what nurtures my soul. And it's incredibly rewarding to bear witness to seeing a student progress on their healing journey and know that they are believed, and know that they are empowered, and know that they are going to succeed. And again, it's not easy, and they get there.
Thank you so much, Susan. And thank you so much for your it's a real blessing and a gift for the students at Sonoma State to be able to have you there and to connect with you and to have you being their advocate and being the person that they walk the journey with. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind giving your contact information, or what's the best way for someone listening that would want to connect with you that might have some questions about this. What, if you wouldn't mind, the best way for them to connect with you?
Well, since we're telecommuting right now, the best way to connect with me is through email. So it's very easy. It's Susan, SUSAN .Pulido, P like Peter, ULID like David, O, at sonoma.edu.
Great. Thank you so much, Susan. And to our audience, this will all be listed at the end, but I know that you are probably really intrigued by what Susan has said. And so we want to give you that information so that you can jot it down right away as well. Our next panelist is Georgina Tello Bugarin, and Georgina is one of our sexual assault advocates for Verity. She has been there with us. She's now, I think, in her 6th year, and she is working half-time stationed at the Petaluma Police Department, and funded her position. That half-time is funded by the Petaluma Police Department, and then half-time at the Verity main offices and at the Family Justice Center. Again, this is pre-COVID. Right now, everyone is working remotely, but we are always available to you. So we are all working from our remote location. So Georgina, please welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for having me. I'm Georgina Tello Bugarin. I'm the bilingual sexual assault advocate for Verity. And like Chris said, I work part-time for the Petaluma Police Department. With the Petaluma Police Department, I work in the investigation department, and I share the office with the detectives. We have a very close group, and we work together in all the cases that are reported in Petaluma. My supervisor there is Paul Gilman, who also supervised the detectives. They assign the cases to me, and we work together in every single case. And I have, for the most part, 3 or 4 different detectives that I work with. We have many cases. Every single month, I am very busy, and they keep me busy, but I love what I do. My other part-time at 20 hours, I work at the Family Justice Center, and there, of course, we are talking pre-COVID. Right now, everything is by Zoom or email. But in normal times, I work there 20 hours, which is like 2 days and a half. So I have a very crazy schedule, 2 days and a half in one office and 2 days and a half in another office. In the Family Justice Center, we help all the clients, all the survivors, they come to the building. So there are several agencies working in the building, and the survivors are connected with every single one that they need get connected with. We mostly work with families who their kids had been molested. And it's a process, it's a whole team. They work together at the Red Bull Children's Center. We are the advocates for the children's, but we work with the families together. We connect them with the services, especially counseling. We try to provide all the information that they need so that they can move forward with in the case. Um, I have many clients. They stay with me for a long time because, as you know, the cases like Susan mentioned, uh, they take long time. So sometimes I started working with one case and continue for several even years. I have one case that started in 2018, and up to now, I'm still connected with the client because it hasn't been resolved. So I get very accounted with my clients. We try to empower them so that they can move on with their healing. I have many clients. They after they disclose, they are very afraid to move forward, and we try to provide all the information. We connected with the detectives, trying to make more easy situation for them. Most of my clients are Spanish speaking monolingual, and it's another barrier that they have, and that we are trying to help them as well. We in my department, we have many advocates, and they work with this many cases. And I'm very happy to working with all these clients because I can see when they come to me, they are in this stage. There's very fragile. They don't know what to do. So we connected with the service. We provide the information, and at the end, when the case is settled, you see a totally different person. You probably don't even recognize yourself because there is you can see a change right in your eyes. And that is a very powerful moment to realize that they came as a victim and now we have a survivor. And that's powerful. Yeah. And I love to see the transformation. It's like a butterfly when everything ends. Yeah, so I'm very happy to have this position. I've been working for Verity for 6 years, but I started as a volunteer and I worked 2 years as a volunteer. So now I'm in my 8th year at Verity. So it seems like it's a lot, but for me, it's like it was yesterday when I started in my position. So I have several positions at Verity, and the one that I love the most is to be an advocate. And I want to be an advocate forever at Verity. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Chris, for having me. I love being in this panel and provide the information for the clients that we serve.
Well, thank you so much, Georgina. And Georgina definitely has her, she thinks maybe she's finished serving one client and she's got 12 on the waiting list for her. And the spirit of all our advocates are that they're just so wonderful and so engaged and so wanting to be there to support survivors, which is so important. Another thing that Georgina does and the advocates do is if someone needs a bed, something's happened and they need a bed, Georgina will send an email to her manager and say, I have a client and they really need a bed. Can we get them a bed? And so this was recent and they worked the magic and got a bed and mattress and bedspread and all of the things. And we try to do as much as we can for our clients because they come, as Georgina says, at a time when who would have thought this was happening, who oftentimes with our child survivors, their parents have also been victimized by sexual violence at some earlier points in their lives. And so it re-traumatizes them. And having the advocates being there, being culturally competent in whatever culture, whatever language it is that you speak, is so critically important. And we feel very fortunate that 72% of our staff are Spanish speaking, they're bilingual. So it really does make a difference to have one's culture understood. And if we don't have the language capacity for someone that comes to us, we make sure that we do get the language capacity. So thank you so much, Georgina, for your depth of dedication and all that you do.
So let me add something to that
Sure.
comment. I actually, healing looks different for every single one. So when you're talking to your client, you know her and you know what is going to probably help her or him to move forward. So if a bed is what is going to help her to move forward, I will do my very, very best to provide that. So sometimes there are beds, other times are different things that they need. Even just a phone call from one of us or from the counselor. So there is a lot of stuff that we do according to the specific needs to the clients that you're working for, because healing, it means different things for every single victim or survivor.
Thank you so much, Georgina. We're going to go now to Lisa Planting, and Lisa will introduce herself, and she facilitates our Monday night drop-in survivor support group, and does it virtually, and was doing it when we were there physically in person, and has not skipped a beat at all. And Lisa has said that she doesn't even want to take, if a holiday falls on a Monday, she does not want to suspend the group for that Monday. So she's keeping those groups going all the time. And it's such a gift to have her with us. So Lisa, thank you.
Well, thank you, Chris. My name is Lisa Planting. I am the person who is running the survivors group on Mondays. And I feel so grateful right now. I've been sort of peripherally connected with Verity for a long time. I started out as a crisis line counselor. I heard about Verity when I was in grad school and the amazing work that they were doing, and I wanted to be a part of that. So that's where I started. And just like Susan, I started 3 years ago in April as well. I started to run the women's support group, and I just cannot talk enough about this group. Chris knows, she's heard me go on and on. It is just such a special place, and I really feel that, especially in this time of COVID and the other extra layer of stress, the importance of having the group be going as much as possible, because the connection that these individuals have made with each other is so valuable at this time. So our survivors group is for women and non-binary individuals who are survivors of sexual assault. What I sort of think of it is as we talk about it being a place that you don't have to pretend. A lot of our survivors will go around in their life and not talk about being a survivor of sexual assault because either they're not believed or people don't want to hear it, or whatever their reason. And so the group is a place where it's okay to talk about being sexually assaulted, and it's okay to talk about the impacts of it. And it's just been wonderful to watch the way the group kind of ebbs and flows, and the way that I think the other women on the panel have talked about, just watching the way in which people evolve as they move through their journey of healing from their trauma. The best part of the group is, I think, people seeing that they are not alone. A lot of times when we are sexually assaulted, we feel like we're the only one, that this has never happened, or maybe we don't know anyone, or so they can see that there are other women who have gone through maybe not the exact story that they've gone through, but something similar, and they're not alone. And a lot of the after effects of being assaulted, they can also see that they're not alone and they're not quote unquote crazy or making it up or whatever it is that either they've been told or they think about themselves. It's just been such an honor to be able to be a part of this group. And I keep telling Chris that I never want to let it go. It's just so, it's really great. However, I am looking forward to being able to meet in person. It's been interesting to do the group remotely because we've had people coming from all over the country to join the group. I think they do a Google search for women's support group and find our group. So I've had people from the East Coast. I've had people from various parts of California. I've had people from the Midwest coming to join the group. So it's been really lovely to not just be able to be such an important part of our community, but also to be able to touch other communities as well, and to have other people see that, you know, we're not alone. And hopefully there's going to be more and more support groups, because I do feel like it's so important. I also just want to mention that I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and one of my focuses and my specialties is working with trauma. And the work that Verity does is so vital in helping to mitigate the lasting impact of trauma. Susan talked a little bit about kind of the process of reporting, and the what I'm hearing from my individuals in my group is the power of being believed and being heard. And it's so important for our survivors to be understood and heard. And that little bit, if you can just say, I believe you, can be so healing and can help to kind of not create such a huge impact. I mean, I could go on and on about the impact of trauma. It really is kind of downplayed a lot. But when someone is traumatized by sexual assault, you can see it kind of years and years and years down the line, how it's impacting people. But if from the very beginning, we can start them off being believed and being supported and being guided through that process of healing, we're really helping them for the rest of their lives. I cannot underscore enough the importance of what Verity does. And like I said, I started out as a crisis line counselor, and I got to walk alongside some of our survivors as they make that first report and go through an exam. And it was some of the most difficult experiences I've ever had, and also the most beautiful. The resiliency and the power the individuals have to stand up and say, this is not right and something should be done, is just so incredible. I feel really honored to have gotten to be a part of that. I recommend anyone and everyone to work on the crisis line if you are someone who wants to be part of Verity and to be part of someone's journey of healing. It is an amazing, amazing experience. And the training that you get from Verity to be able to do that work, I think really, it's not helpful just for doing the work with Verity, but also for the rest of your life, and how to be an advocate in the world for people who have been sexually assaulted, because really that's what we need. And that's what I talk with our survivors about is, you know, there's a lot of powerlessness that happens because either their case goes nowhere, or, you know, they're, for whatever reason, the resolution that they had dreamed of wasn't able to be possible. And so what I talk about is, we all need to do a better job of talking about sexual assault and talking about the impact of sexual assault, because the statistics show 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men have been sexually assaulted. I believe that number might be a little bit higher, but it's not something that we talk about enough. And we need to, I want to say, normalize talking about that it happens in the hopes that we can stop it from happening, because it shouldn't be happening. And then also to normalize believing our survivors and not blaming. And to get off my little soapbox, I just feel so blessed to be able to do my part for Verity. So thank you, Chris, for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa, for being with us and for being there every Monday night, not giving up on anybody. And one of the things that Lisa didn't mention is that there's kind of a core group of women that have been attending this group for a long time. And what happens from this group is that then there become subgroups, like their friendships are formed. And so people know that they can connect with others when they're having a rough day, when it's not Monday night, but it's a different day. And that is a really amazing piece of this. And so just thank you, Lisa, for your dedication and your commitment to the survivors and to Verity, because, Verity is, and I don't say this lightly, it's a name, but the name is nothing without the people that are actually there making us and creating us and being who we are, our staff, our volunteers, our board. So it's just so critical, because our mission is to serve all survivors, and we really want to. And so, Lisa, can you please let us know how someone listening, they might be interested in joining the Monday Night Survivor Support Group? How would they do that?
Absolutely. So if you go to ourverity.org, the link for the group is there. It's every Monday from 6 to 7. I pretty much don't miss a group. And what I love to say to our survivors, it is really difficult to attend the group for the first time. I will not make you talk. And what I also love to say is that we're here when you're ready. So, it may not be today, it may not be next week, but we'll be here when you're ready. So.
And Georgina, I'm sorry, but I did not ask you to give your contact information. Would you mind doing that for everybody, please?
Of course, actually my clients or everybody can call me directly to my phone. It's 707-321-9403. And I try to return the phone calls within 12 hours.
Thank you so much. There's so much more that can be said. There will be other panels this month, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and then we're going to continue panels throughout the year, because we found that people are enjoying them and really learning from them. And hopefully you can feel from just the 3 folks that spoke tonight, the dedication and commitment that we as an organization have to survivors. It is our mission. It is our passion. It is, I believe, our life's work. And we are here for survivors, for their families, and to provide you even those things that you think that we wouldn't, like a meal. You might need a meal, or someone that's without shelter and they need a backpack filled with some basic supplies. We have those. And even though we're remote, I go to the office, someone needs it, and we make sure that they have it. So please contact us if you need anything at all. And if we cannot provide it, we work very collaboratively throughout the Sonoma County community. We are true collaborators, and we will connect you with a very warm handoff, not just a phone number, but with a connection to receive those services. The other thing that I want to engage with everybody and to assure you is that all of our services are free. We do not charge for any of the services that we provide. We're funded by grants from state, county, local governments, and from generous foundations and generous donors and supporters who understand the mission of Verity and understand the impact of sexual assault and sexual violence on one's life. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Again, any questions? And my direct contact is 707-545-7270. If you have any questions about the way the organization is run or facilitated or anything like that, or anything else that you would like to know. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And a big, huge round of applause to our panelists. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you deeply. Thank you.